Not my poopy thing.
Okay. So she's asking for mics. Yeah, that's a good, because might be a little bit higher when you take, yeah, there you go. And then if you're all done, the roll off, just take the roll off, going up through the shirt.
Candidate Forum for the Port of Olympia, position 2 and 3. This forum is presented by the League of Women Voters of Thurston County in collaboration with Thurston Community Media and the NAACP of Thurston County. The League of Women Voters is proud to be nonpartisan, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues of concern to members and the public to defend our democracy and empower voters. I am Tawny Crawford with the League, and I will be moderating this forum. Monica Miller is our timer. The Port of Olympia is a Washington State special purpose municipal corporation serving all of Thurston County. The port owns and operates 4 distinct business lines, including Swantown Marina and boatyards, Seaport, Olympia Regional Airport, and a real estate portfolio. The port is well balanced and committed to fostering economic growth of the South Puget Sound region while serving the needs of the global clientele. There are 4 candidates participating in this forum: Jerry Tumpas, Bob Iyall for District 2, Anthony Hemstad, and Krag Unsoeld for District 3. We stress the importance of civility in our forums. Candidates have received the ground rules for the forum and have agreed to abide by them. Candidates, will you verify that agreement?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Beginning with Bob, the first question is, why are you running for the Port of Olympia?
Oh, well, first, thank you to the League of Women Voters, and you do this every year, and it's such a great service to our community and to inform the voters, and just thank you for doing this every year. I am Bob Iyall, and I am mostly a lifelong resident of Thurston County. I am a current port commissioner, and I'm also a tribal elder at the Nisqually Indian tribe. And I believe good government is built on relationships and results. During my first term, we hired a new executive director. We negotiated a fair contract with the International Longshore and Warehouse Union, Local 47B, and we expanded the commission to 5 seats for broader representation throughout the county. So I am here to let you know I want to continue that work into another term, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry?
All right, my name is Jerry Toompas, and I'm running for Port Commissioner in District 2. I'm running because I was asked to by concerned community members. So I'll just go into myself first. I'm a special education teacher. I care deeply about my community. I'm a lifelong resident of Iyall and Thurston County, and I believe I am experienced and ready to do this. I have an MBA in project management. I have experience as a small business owner, and most of all, I'm just a resident of Thurston County, regular struggling family, ready to make a difference. And I believe that there's not enough representation for certain members of the population, including the rural voters, including those who do not have the resources that others do. And I just want to make sure that the port is representative of everyone because we all pay port taxes and we all deserve to see its benefits.
Thank you. Anthony?
Yeah, thank you, Tawny. Growing up here in Olympia, I was involved in Boy Scouts and actually became an Eagle Scout. One of the central tenets of scouting is that you leave a place better than it was when you found it. And that's why I'm running for Port Commissioner. Because in those intervening years between Scouts and now, I've done a lot of things that can benefit the port. I've worked in public policy at the local, state, national, and international levels. That includes being a city manager, and was also a hospital commissioner for the largest hospital district in the state. So I've run much larger governments than the Port of Olympia. I've also worked in economic development and international trade. Was head of the World Trade Center Association offices in Tacoma and San Francisco, and there I helped to bring in about $500 million in foreign investment that helped create thousands of family wage jobs. Currently, I head up the Economic Development Committee for the Citizens Advisory Commission, so I have skills that can help the port today.
Thank you. Krag?
My name is Krag Unsoeld, and I come from a background of intergovernmental coordination and finance. And so I worked for a long time with Puget Sound Water Quality Action Team, where I worked with tribal and local governments to obtain federal and state agency technical and financial assistance. I'm also a problem solver. I believe that what I am going to bring to the port is three things. First of all, wise and careful management of our resources. That includes both economic and environmental resources. The port hasn't been doing that in the past. I will change that. Secondly, science-based decision-making. We have to do the science before we do the engineering. We don't do the engineering, and then you cherry-pick science. Finally, transparency and accountability. I want to make sure that everybody understands what the port is doing and agrees with it.
Thank you. Beginning with Jerry, the next question is, what are the top priorities you would address if elected?
All right, so the first thing that I really care about and I really want to explore is our budget and our finances. And I think that just looking at some of the recent board meetings and board retreats, that the commissioners and the port staff don't have an accurate or very well understood idea of where the economic benefits go, whether it goes to rural, whether it goes specifically to areas near the waterfront, which lines of business are being profitable, which are not. It's a very complex system where, you know, we're paying for long-term investments for some of these businesses, and we can't really see. Port staff and commissioners aren't ever given a specific idea of or honest representation of some of the lines of business. We talk about, you know, is the marina profitable? Is the airport profitable? And there's all kinds of different accounting terms, but ultimately I want to see financial accountability.
Oh, yeah. My top three priorities here at the port would be, first off, good environmental stewardship of the port resources, including cleaning up Butt Inlet and remediating lands that need to be remediated on the peninsula and the area around the airport. Also, ensuring that the port is the economic engine that ports are supposed to be. Again, trying to attract family wage jobs and help diversify the Thurston County economy. And then also make sure that we are being good management and good stewards of this government. And that's really the job of commissioners is to oversee how the organization is being run. And again, I have done that. I have run much bigger governments than the Port of Olympia, and so I can help provide that oversight.
Thank you, Krag.
My top three priorities are going to be, first of all, collaborating with local small businesses and innovative businesses so that they can locate near the marine terminal and the airport. Second, I would like to expand recreational opportunities by allowing public waterfront access on the Port Peninsula and also to complete the waterfront trail. And finally, I would like to launch the marine habitat restoration to preserve the environmental resources on the port for future generations. It's important to emphasize environmental restoration. We are far, far past the opportunity for stewardship. We lost on that a long time ago. So we have to not steward, but actually restore our environment.
Thank you. Bob?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Number one, it's important to me that we complete the contaminated sediment cleanup in Butt Inlet. That's going to open up opportunities at the Port Peninsula. Number one, it's a preface to the restoration of the marine habitat around the peninsula, and then it also opens it up for responsible development and better public access. The second thing would be the habitat conservation plan that we're working together with the city of Tumwater. Again, the completion of that and approval of that plan will open up the Newmarket Industrial Campus for responsible development and provide for species, endangered species protection. And then the third thing would be to continue and complete the master plan for developing the Port Peninsula. We've just started that, and that will also provide many more opportunities.
Okay, thank you. Please don't hesitate to ask me to repeat the question if need be. I'm happy to do that. Beginning with Anthony, the third question is, one challenge the port is facing is helping the community understand what is the port's function in the community. How would you help educate the community on the port's role?
Well, by encouraging the port to get out and about into the community as well, of not just expecting people to come to Port Commission meetings, but going to where people are. This afternoon, for example, I'm going down to South County to talk to mayors in those cities and get their feedback and input. I think recently the port has made some changes, and they have a much more active and robust communications program than they had previously. They're being more active on social media, as we know. So few people are engaging with the traditional media now that we need to think creatively of reaching people where they are, not where the port is. Ramping up port communications in general would be what I would encourage doing in the future.
Okay. Krag.
So can you repeat the question?
Certainly. One challenge the port is facing is helping the community understand what is the port's function in the community. How would you help educate the community on the port's role?
Okay, so the most important thing is for the port to come out from behind the curtain, you might say. And it's really important that they communicate with the people throughout Thurston County in whatever way possible. And this could be from a website with a dashboard on it that would basically allow the people to log on to it and look at finance, look at projects that are being considered, look at options for the different initiatives that the port is taking. So it's really important that the people learn that they do own the port, because the port is owned by all of Thurston County residents, and not just the people who happen to own yachts or private airplanes or are actually working on the port property. So really increasing communications is the best thing.
All right, well, thank you again for this question. This is actually going to be a preview of my closing statement, but RCW 53.04 charges Washington ports with promoting trade, fostering industry, and creating economic opportunity for the public good. Now, the Port of Olympia, in a recent economic impact study, the port activity supports more than 5,000 jobs, with over 2,600 direct family wage jobs right here in this community. These jobs generate over $132 million in wages, and port operations contribute to nearly $29 million in state and local tax revenue that supports our schools, infrastructure, and public services. The port's strength comes from its diversity. Beyond marine cargo and our Swantown Marina and Boat Works, Olympia Regional Airport, and the Newmarket Industrial Campus, and our real estate properties, we generate hundreds of millions of dollars in economic activity annually. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Go ahead, Jerry.
All right, so I believe that the function of the port is important to tell the public. I think that a lot of times it's economic development, and that doesn't really resonate with a lot of citizens. I think that what could resonate with them is to show them all the possibilities, be excited. This is public land. Public land is unique, and it's something that there isn't enough public land. So when we have public land, we shouldn't just lock it up into tons of industry where public's not really understanding what's going on. So I believe that if you let them know that we can bring tourism into Olympia, if you let them know that there's opportunities for recreation, families, parks, that it's not specifically just about jobs, jobs, jobs. Otherwise, we would just sell public land to the private sector. It's a unique opportunity for us to do more than just jobs, jobs, jobs. And I would like to communicate that by op-eds and being vocal and just being excited about it.
Okay, we will begin with this fourth question with Krag, and that is, the public and private sectors are experiencing pressure from the federal government to eliminate commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion, commonly known as DEI. In light of this, do you think any changes are needed to the port's DEI efforts?
If the simple fact, in terms of having the port change its DEI efforts because of federal edicts or directives, I would say no. I think that in this time and in this place, we really need to double down on the fact that diversity and equity and inclusion, which are what the letters DEI stand for, are really essential in our society and in our culture. It's something that we have made big headway on over the decades, over the centuries that the United States has been in existence. And it's really important that we not lose what we have gained and that we move forwards with recognizing that everybody is a participant, we all are citizens, and we all have a place.
Thank you. Bob?
Great question. From my personal experience as a Nisqually tribal member, several years ago, I started our tribe's TARO department, which is Tribal Employment Rights Office. So I'm extremely aware and have a lot of experience in DEI subjects. And I don't believe that any of us at the port or really any government here in locally has any desire to forego our DEI efforts over the years. We certainly want to celebrate and acknowledge different cultures and backgrounds and incorporate those in our operations. That being said, we also have an obligation to our community to complete projects that are a benefit. And so some modifications, even temporary modifications, may be necessary down the road.
Okay. Jerry?
All right, well, I'm a big supporter of DEI. I believe that it is essential. It is something that has been proven to bring together communities and build culture. There's definitely no way that, I'll just say I think that the port is doing a great job, and I don't think that there's anything necessarily needed to change. I'm a special education teacher, so I know how important it is. I'm a father of children who are queer, and I know that there's a lot of stigma and sometimes a lot of hate out in the media, and I'll just be very vocal. I'm absolutely no. I'm not going to let any efforts to remove it at the port proceed. And I think just being vocal and being passionate and standing up for what we believe, which I'm sure we all believe, will benefit the community.
Thank you,
Yes,
Anthony.
on DEI and the port, first off, I think DEI programs can be very helpful. In my day job, I'm a public policy and economic development consultant, and a few years ago, for one of my clients, was able to get a substantial tranche of funds for training and recruiting or diversifying the workforce for a consortium of 15 fire districts up in King County. And that has helped significantly in diversifying their workforce. The Port of Olympia should continue diversifying its workforce as well. And that's they're certainly is strength through diversity. In the past, again, working in international business and with the World Trade Center, I've worked with a wide variety of different cultures and people, and we should not be changing our DEI policies.
Beginning with Bob, the final question is, how can the port incorporate climate and environmental issues in their decisions regarding development of port property?
Well, we are actively involved in the, for example, the sea level rise collaborative with the city of Olympia and others. So we are a part of that planning process for the downtown Olympia area. So when we are looking at the Port Peninsula and even the environmental cleanup process for Bud Inlet, we can incorporate all of those things into planning for the eventuality of sea level rise and the climate change, so that when we do develop these properties, we are prepared for what's coming our way over the next 50 years or so, because we don't want to go into it blindly. We want to make sure that we do the proper engineering and the proper planning and prepare those sites for that eventuality.
All right, and I think that every single decision the port makes needs to consider what this leaves for future generations. What's this going to be 75 years down the line? Just 50, 90 years ago, we had so much pollution from port activities that it's not safe to swim in the Bud Inlet today. So any development needs extensive scrutiny in order to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Even if it results in short-term gains, we need to look at the longer picture. So I would bring in experts, and I would decide based on consensus whether a development is going to make things worse down the road.
You know, for climate, certainly the Port of Olympia should be a leader not just in economic development, but in sustainable economic development, and in looking for ways where we can be real climate leaders. One way is electrification, and we have lots of opportunities to put in solar panels under flight paths at the airport. We should be electrifying so that ships that tie up at our marina are not burning using their diesel engines, but instead are plugged in to shoreside electricity. Also, we should be learning by what's being done elsewhere with sponge cities have had a huge impact in other parts of the world, and we should take some of those learnings to make sure that we can combat sea level rise here in Olympia and Thurston County as well.
Okay, thank you, Krag.
So when you talk about the effects that climate change is going to have on the Port of Olympia, I'm going to talk about sea level rise and storm events. Because as the climate changes, we are seeing much more intense storm events, which includes the wind, it includes the rainfall, it includes other factors. So, and also the whole thing with the warming of the waters in the inlet. It's really important that the port be environmentally responsible. And it's also really important to recognize that this cannot be done by the port alone. It has to be coordinated with other local jurisdictions, with local stakeholders, with the tribes, with labor unions and businesses. And so that's the thing which I'm going to bring is the intergovernmental coordination, the working with diverse interests and pulling it all together so that we can effectively address climate change.
Thank you all. You now have 1 minute for a closing statement, and we will start with Jerry.
All right, well, thank you again. I think I really respect the work that the League of Women Voters does. I am a regular citizen that just decided to jump in, and it's been scary. It's been fun. I'm introverted, and it's not something that I do that's natural to me. But I really believe in a few things. I really want to represent the rural communities. Right now, they pay taxes to the port through property taxes. Overall, the port receives over $8 million a year, and I don't believe that the rural communities are getting enough. In my community of Iyall, we have over $300,000 in property taxes collected, and we get a $10,000 grant back. So I really want to stand up for the rural communities. I really want to stand up for, again, people who don't have the resources that others do. The port should be providing a lot more activities, should be providing more academic development for small businesses, and really go throughout the county to make a bigger difference to all constituents.
Thank you, Tani, and thank all of you for watching. You have a very clear choice in this election, and I ask for your support and vote. I'm the only candidate who has substantial government, private sector, and economic development experience. People who know the port well and know what it needs to thrive are the ones who encouraged me to run and have endorsed my campaign. Pretty much every group that has looked at this race has endorsed Hemstad for port. This includes business groups, labor unions, environmental organizations, and prominent Democrats and Republicans, including people like Marilyn Strickland and Adam Smith, J.T. Wilcox, Kim Wyman. Notably, all 5 of the current port commissioners have endorsed me, and they all had competitive elections, and the 5 people who ran against them have endorsed me as well. If you want a commissioner with experience and a successful track record in creating family wage jobs, I'm your candidate. Please vote Hemstad for Port and go to my website, hemstadforport.com, for more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Krag?
So one of the things that I've learned during my life, and partly it was from listening to my mother, when she would say, you have to listen so that you understand. And that is exactly what I believe that I'm going to bring to the Port of Olympia, is the willingness to listen, particularly listening to people that you don't agree with or who don't agree with you, with the port. Listening to people you disagree with is the only way to establish common ground. And it is upon that common ground that we can build a bridge that's going to move us forward into the future together. And that is what I'm going to do when I am elected to the Port of Olympia. So please support my candidacy for Port of Olympia. Thank you.
Okay, Bob?
All right, thank you. Thank you again to the League of Women Voters. And I mentioned the RCW that charges the ports with their purpose. The Port of Olympia delivers on that mission by supporting thousands of jobs, generating $500 million in local economic impact, and strengthening the tax base for our state and local governments. Looking forward, my priorities are to complete the Bud Inlet cleanup, finalize the habitat conservation plan, and bring the destination waterfront to life as a vibrant community hub. We'll continue to improve financial transparency and keep working with labor, business, tribes, and the neighborhoods. The port is both an engine of economic vitality and a steward for our environment. And I ask for your support to continue this balanced, forward-looking work. And thank you again for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to the 4 of you for participating in this candidate forum. We thank our partner, TCMedia, for producing and airing it. We are indebted to TCMedia for years of making these forums happen and educating the voters. TCMedia is a nonprofit organization dedicated to making media production accessible to all. They are committed to providing our community with access to professional media production, education, and content creation resources. Your support helps provide studio space, equipment, and education for creators in our community. To donate to TCMedia's work or to become a member, visit www.tcmedia.org. We are also incredibly thankful to the NAACP of Thurston County for sponsoring this forum. We encourage our viewers to be a voter in the upcoming election on November 4, 2025. Every vote counts. Ballots for military personnel were mailed on September 21st, and all other ballots will be available on October 15th. You may register to vote right up to Election Day. Thank you for watching this 2025 Candidate Forum.
Hello. Thank you for tuning into the 2025 General Election Candidate Forum for the Lacey City Council. This forum is presented by the League of Women Voters of Thurston County in collaboration with Thurston Community Media. The League of Women Voters is proud to be nonpartisan, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues of concern to members and the public to defend our democracy and empower voters. I am Golden Neal with the League, and I will be moderating this forum. Barbara Byron is our timer. According to their website, Lacey City Council's primary duties are to make laws, adopt regulations and budgets, levy taxes, authorize public improvements, provide for public safety and health, approve board and commission appointments, and oversee a wide-ranging agenda of the community of Lacey. We have candidates from 3 positions here with us. Today, Maren Turner is running to represent position 4. Position 6 will be represented by either Evette Temple or Ryan Siu, and Carolyn Cox is running for position 7. Charles Beck, running against Maren Turner for position 4, was invited but unable to attend. And Michael Stedman, who is running against Carolyn Cox for position 7, was invited and declined to attend and did not submit a written statement. We stress the importance of civility in our forums. Candidates have received the ground rules for the forum and have agreed to abide by them. Beginning with Maren, the first question is, why are you running for Lacey City Council?
Thank you, and hello, neighbors. I am Maren Turner. I'm running for Lacey City Council because I want to expand the public service that I already provide for this city that I love so much. I'm coming not just as a candidate, but as a person who has decades of experience, leadership experience, community service experience, and I also have the passion that can keep this community moving forward. As your city councilwoman, I will be sure to listen to your voices. I want to hear the voices of the 70% of us who've been here for less than 20 years, as well as the voices of people who describe themselves as lifelong residents, because I think we need to hear all of those voices. I'm inviting you to follow me at marenturner.com or just type in Maren Turner for Lacey. I'd love to hear from you. Your voice, your choice is my focus, and so I look forward to talking to you along the campaign trail. Thank you.
Ryan?
Hello, my name is Ryan Siu. I am a candidate for Lacey City Council position 6. I'm running for Lacey City Council because I believe that as Lacey is the largest and most diverse city in Thurston County, we need to be able to push our city forward to be the leader in the region that it needs to be. I believe that we need to work on affordable housing. We need to work on expanding our transportation infrastructure, as well as supporting small businesses. And all of those need to happen with an eye for environmental resilience, as well as an eye for equity. We need to be able to make sure that the most vulnerable of our residents are going to be supported and lifted up. And I know that with your support, we can build a more resilient, inclusive, and vibrant Lacey for future generations. You can follow me at ryanforlacey.com, or you can find me on Facebook. Thank you so much.
Evette?
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. My name is Evette Temple, and I have been a resident of Thurston County for the past 16 years. I have been serving the community for the past 16 years in various nonprofit roles, and I've been serving the city of Lacey for over a year now. I was appointed with full confidence of Lacey City Council as a Human Services Commissioner. I believe this is a potentially pivotal time in Lacey as we continue to grow. Our needs are changing, and with my background of 38 years in a financial institution as well as being balanced out by my lived experiences and my human services dedication. I feel that I bring a well-rounded lived experience to the council. So if you are interested in me and more of my message, please visit my website. It's Evette with an E, the number 4, at Lacey.com. And, sorry, EvetteForLacey.com. Anyways, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to serving the city many more years to come.
Carolyn.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Cox, and I have had the honor of serving on the Lacey City Council for 8 years now. It has been a time of great opportunities, great challenges for Lacey. As has been mentioned, we have been experiencing rapid growth, and we have become not only Thurston County's largest city, but its most diverse city. I've distinguished myself as a housing and climate champion on the council. I've also worked really hard on transit and on standing up Lacey's Commission on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. In fact, Lacey has kind of led the way for Thurston County on that, and I'm very proud of that effort. So I am asking for your support for one more term and look forward to today's debate.
Thank you. This question is beginning with Ryan. What is the single most challenging issue facing Lacey in 2025?
The single most challenging issue facing Lacey in 2025, I'm going to have to probably go with housing affordability, as it is going to be one of the most immediate things that are felt by our residents, making sure that people have homes that they can afford and that they can continue to live in. But as we expand and we have to meet those needs for housing affordability, we also have to make sure that we are not disregarding the climate change and that we're maintaining our environmental sustainability as we build those houses. We need to make sure we have good tree canopy, that we are maintaining our green spaces, and that we're working to infill so that way we are not pushed out into the sprawl, and so that way we can maintain farmland as well as our forests. Recently, a survey said that our natural beauty around Lacey was one of our greatest strengths, and we need to preserve that. Thank you.
Yvette?
Yes, thank you. Well, I've been serving on the Board of Homes for the past 6 years, and this is what my life has been. But I'd like to change the script, and I'm going to say same thing as Ryan. It is housing, but accessibility, because what's affordable to one person may not be affordable to another, and so we really need to look at our missing middle. And as we continue to grow, this is something that is very, very urgent. We have done City Council, and thank you so much, Carolyn. They did some changes last year to include upzoning for 3 to 6 units. We have a serious issue with the missing middle. And so with all my experience that I have around this, I really look forward to getting together with my other council members and members of the community, and as well, you know, there's a whole bunch of people involved with affordable housing. When we increase, thank you.
We'll move on to Carolyn.
I think it's a compound of growth, how we meet that growth, and the funding gap that the city faces. This year, we've been working on our budget, and we're looking at trying to fill like a $2 million shortfall. That's projected to go out to about $9 million within 5 years, and yet the city is growing, and it will cost more to provide services to these new residents, and yet our income stream is going to be flat. It does present quite the challenge. The other flip side of managing growth and having it happen quickly is not to let it overwhelm and destroy the character of Lacey. So I have been working with our planning commission and which is doing our comprehensive plan, encouraging them to look at zoning and trying to keep it orderly and not have collisions of residential and commercial.
Thank you. Maren?
I agree. Housing is one of the most important things we have to get our arms around, because housing is more than just shelter. It's about community. It's about proximity to schools and to work. It's about health. And if we want a very vital and vibrant community, we have to have a healthy community. And so housing, I think, is one of the key pieces to that. I also think that there is more that we can do. I'm concerned about older people, one of the fastest growing groups to become unhoused. And one of the reasons for that is because they don't have, their houses no longer meet their needs. I'm concerned about teens who become unhoused as well. Those that are not supervised by parents or by the city or the state. So we have to do more to support the host families that make it possible for them to have shelter and to have a quality of life.
Thank you. Our next question will begin with Evette. The public and private sectors are experiencing pressure from the federal government to eliminate commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion, commonly known as DEI. In light of this, do you think any changes are needed to Lacey's DEI efforts?
Well, actually, I had the opportunity this past week as a Human Services Commissioner. I was invited to participate with the other municipalities, and it was for their DEI meeting. One thing, though, that I really thought was wonderful is Lacey's not just DEI. We're DEIB, B for belonging. And I think that we are making tremendous strides. I think regardless of federal pressure, we need to stay the course. As a woman and a Native American, these things weren't around when I was younger, and I think they're very, very important for us to maintain and continue on with the mission. Thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn, would you like to answer the question?
I absolutely think we must preserve our community's values, including the DEI as well as climate change. This is another thing the federal government is threatening funding on. I was very proud as chair of the Intercity Transit Authority to be part of the decision where the authority joined a federal lawsuit against the government, which was trying to withhold transit funds unless we removed DEI and climate language from our grants and from our governing documents. Same thing with the Thurston Regional Planning Council. My colleague Robin Vasquez and I, along with Tumwater City Councilwoman Eileen Swarthout, kind of led the effort to rebuff attempts to pull back that language. And I just, we cannot knuckle under to bullying from the federal government. Nothing good ever comes from knuckling under to a bully.
Thank you. Maren.
We absolutely have to stay the course. I am so proud that Lacey has a DEI commission. I've had the opportunity to sit in on their meetings in person and online, and I think we're moving in the right direction. I've looked at the strategic plan for Lacey. I am very, very proud of the equity map that was released earlier this year. And I think there are lots of opportunities for us to not only keep doing what we're doing, but to strengthen our efforts. One of the things that I saw in the strategic plan for DEI for the city is that we need to increase communication from a variety of voices. And as I doorbell and I meet more and more people, I can see where that's definitely a need, that we figure out ways that we can not only bring people in to give us input into the city, but figure out ways we can go to the communities where people are so that we can hear those voices and nobody gets left behind. But we absolutely have to stay the course.
Thank you. Ryan.
Thank you. Yes, I believe that the DEI efforts, DEIB, thank you, efforts that the city is putting forth is a great starting point. I would love to see us increase our efforts in how we communicate and we do outreach with different areas of Lacey. So a little background about myself is that my father was an immigrant from China, and I feel as though like there are certain areas and certain voices that are not reached in the same capacity, through the same ways. And so we need to make sure that we are meeting people where they're at, so that way we can incorporate their voices and their opinions in how we do make decisions on the city council. And thank you so much for this question. It's a thing that I hold very dear, and I can't hit my chest because of the mic.
Excuse me. Carolyn, this question is for you. As local governments are facing significant financial challenges, what do you see as Lacey's toughest financial issue?
Well, as I previously mentioned, we see a gap between the amount of revenue the city collects and the expenses. Of course, labor is the largest expense of a city, and our staff and our council are determined not to have to resort to layoffs. We have been exploring some other income streams, such as utility taxes and other things that we can impose. I think down the line, I think we're close to solving the gap this year, but as the gap widens, we're going to have to look down the line at looking at other revenue sources. The city has been good at attracting grant money for parks and some of our facilities, but it's kind of competitive out there, and we can't count on grant money to bail us out.
Thank you.
Yes. I think one of the issues we're going to have to solve is how to increase our revenue stream. I think one of the ways to do that is to bring more businesses to Lacey. I'd like to see us have more destination businesses, businesses that offer something that you can't get anywhere else. You have to come to Lacey to get it. So it's not just, Lacey's not just a place where it's great to live, but it's a place where it's great to arrive. I'd like to see us not be so, I guess, dependent on sales tax and property tax, because that is a regressive tax for people who have low and fixed incomes. And so if we can diversify our revenue streams, I think that would be of a great benefit to Lacey.
Ryan, I invite you to answer the question.
Could you repeat the question?
As local governments are facing significant financial challenges, what do you see as Lacey's toughest financial issue?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I would have to say, like, having been at the previous work sessions and hearing them talk about the budget shortfalls that they're facing right now, that one of the biggest issues that we're going to be having is diversifying our revenue streams. I think we can widen our the businesses and attract more businesses to the city of Lacey, so that way we have a larger tax base. But I also believe that we cannot keep relying on sales tax and property taxes in order to keep meeting the needs of the city. We'll have to look for different ways in order to get that revenue. And as Maren had mentioned, that property taxes and sales tax are regressive. I think that we need to work with other local governments and with our state government as well in order to help diversify what those options are. Thank you.
Yvette.
Thank you. Well, as a commercial banker for 38 years, the finances are somewhat right up my alley, and I agree with my fellow candidates that we cannot continue to rely on the previous streams of revenue that we had. Taxes are having a huge impact not only in our city but our state, and we have to think about different ways to do that. As a former board president and board member for what was known as the Olympia Lacey Tumwater Visitor and Convention Bureau. I very much agree with Maren about making Lacey more of a destination. There is, we want to keep our families and folks here. If they want to go do things, they tend to go out. They go out of Thurston County, they go out of Lacey, and I have actually been in talks with several people about some ideas to make Lacey more of a destination. With the heads and beds, it increases revenue, it helps our businesses, and our small businesses really do need no tax.
We need to continue on with our next question. And this will be posed to Maren. How can the city of Lacey collaborate with other jurisdictions to end homelessness in Thurston County?
I think it's important for Lacey to collaborate with other jurisdictions. We can share data, we can share strategies, we can share funding. There are a number of ways that we can look at, how can we end homelessness. I also think it's really important for us to look at how we're defining homelessness and the problem of people being unhoused. I know we take the point in time data, but I think the problem of people being homeless or unhoused is bigger than we know, because there are people that couch surf. There are people who may have a domestic violence situation and they don't want to go back home. And so in order for us to really get our arms around homelessness and people being unhoused, we have to work together. Like I said, share the data, share the strategy, share information, and just work together. I love the way our law enforcement works with the MOT team to make sure that we are helping people find services.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan.
Thank you. I believe that we need to be able to collaborate with all of the different municipalities in this region because homelessness is not just affecting Lacey, it's affecting everyone. And because of that, we need to have input from all of them. No one place, no one municipality is going to be able to solve that. There is a great amount of NGOs in our region. Part of that's because we have the Olympia, the capital of the state, is here. And we need to be able to coordinate with them to make sure that as we expand housing, that we have wraparound services for those individuals who are there. So that way they can continue to be successful and they can continue to move on and flourish in our communities. Some of that is going to be through inter-area agreements or inter-localities and working with them to make sure that we are getting people the services that we have available to us, not just in Lacey, but everywhere.
Thank you. Evette.
Thank you. Well, actually, I really think that this is an area I've been working in for so long, and it's deeply personal to me. We need to put all the egos aside. We need to come together as a collective with every jurisdiction and the tribes as well. If this was an easy fix, it would have been fixed by now. With all the money that has been put in this area, it would have been fixed. So we need a collective collaboration of all the jurisdictions as well as the tribes to talk about what can we do? You know, a lot of things with houselessness is, you know, there's mental illness, there's addiction, there are a lot of things, and we need to do things differently because what we've been doing is not working. It is just definitely one of those things that we need to come together, and we were just talking about this Monday night at the commission meeting. Thank you.
Carolyn.
Righty. Well, we have such a group, and I'm happy to say I was the co-founder of it. It's called the Thurston Regional Housing Council. We work together, we share policy, we share plans and information, we set priorities for the state and federal funding that comes into Thurston County. And one of the things I'm really happy about, and just in the last couple of years, is we've established community advisory groups. There are 3 of them who advise the Housing Council. One addresses lived experience. It's made of people who actually have lived on the streets and who can tell us more directly what their needs are. We have one on affordable housing and we have one on homeless services. I think, it's taken a while to get this organization up and running, and the idea is that it will eventually become its own agency. But we are definitely collaborating as a region on this very difficult topic.
Thank you. You now will have 1 minute for a closing statement, beginning with Maren.
Well, I want to thank the League for having us here today. I am running for Lacey City Council, I'm focused on housing, seniors, and economic development. What we've done today is democracy in action. I hope we never lose it. So I want to thank everyone who is here in the audience, as well as those of you who are meeting with us virtually. I invite you to please come to my website, marenturner.com, to learn more about the issues that I'm working on. I'd like for people to see the endorsements that I have, as well as the grassroots support for the issues that I'm looking at. If you want to talk with me, I'd be glad to do that, because I love to listen. And like I said, I'm interested in listening to everyone to get your voices. I think that's the best way to make good policy and to have budget oversight. So again, thank you, neighbors, and I look forward to seeing you, and I'm asking for your vote on November 4th.
Ryan.
Thank you. Again, I would like to thank everyone for being here, the League for putting this on. I believe that this is such an important forum for people to get to ask questions and to learn more about what happens at local politics. What happens locally affects our people every day. And I think it's the most overlooked area in politics, but it's also the most important. Again, my priorities are going to be housing affordability, expanding transportation infrastructure, as well as small business development, but particularly how all of those decisions need to come through a lens of environmental sustainability as well as equity, so that way we can continue to lift up the most vulnerable in our communities to make sure that no one is left behind. We live in such a amazing city and an amazing region, and we should be able to all feel safe and accepted and a part of this community. Thank you.
Evette.
As a proud member of the League of Women Voters, thank you for putting this on and being here today. I am a candidate for Lacey City Council Position 6. I am committed to inclusive growth, housing attainability, public safety, and transparent governance to ensure that nobody in Lacey is left behind as our city continues to grow. I am somebody that usually stands behind the scenes. That's why a lot of people don't know me, but I've been involved with so many groups and agencies over the 16 years I've been here, and I really feel that this is a pivotal time on council, and that my lived knowledge and my experience is something that I could really help bring to the table and continue to make sure Lacey is a great place for now and future generations to come. And please reach out to me. My website, I goofed that up earlier. It's Evette4Lacey.com, and I look forward to speaking with you. Thank you.
Carolyn.
Well, first I want to thank the League for this opportunity to address voters. It's so important in this day. I think it has been alluded to, we are living in rather troubled times, and those times call for steady, compassionate leadership, which I offer. I have specialized in housing, transit, climate, and DEI efforts on the council. I have leadership roles within the community. I'm chair of the Intercity Transit Authority. I'm vice chair of the Thurston Regional Planning Council, and I represent Lacey on the LOT Clean Water Alliance, as well as on the Thurston Regional Housing Council. This is a time of rapid growth for Lacey. It's going to be fraught with a lot of challenges. And I think my experience on the council, I've grown greatly in the 8 years I've been on the council, are needed to face what's ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all, the candidates, for participating in this candidate forum. We thank our partner, TCMedia, for producing it and airing it. We are indebted to TCMedia for years of making these forums happen and educating the voters. TCMedia is a nonprofit organization dedicated to making media production accessible to all. They're committed to providing our community with access to professional media production, education, and content creation resources. Your support helps provide studio space, equipment, and education for creators in our community. To donate to TCMedia's work or to become a member, visit www.tcmedia.org. We're also incredibly thankful to the NAACP of Thurston County for sponsoring this forum. We encourage our viewers to be a voter in the upcoming election on November 4th, 2025. Every vote counts. Ballots for military personnel were mailed on September 21st, and all other ballots will be available on October 15th. You may register to vote up to Election Day. Thank you for watching this 2025 Candidate Forum.
Hello. Thank you for tuning in to this 2025 primary election candidate forum for the Tumwater Mayor. This forum is presented by the League of Women Voters of Thurston County in collaboration with Thurston Community Media and the NAACP of Thurston County. The League of Women Voters is proud to be nonpartisan, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues of concern to members and the public to defend our democracy and empower voters. I am Tawny Crawford with the League, and I will be moderating this forum. Barbara Bryan is our timer. The City of Tumwater uses a mayor-council form of government. The mayor's role is to carry out the policies the City Council has adopted for the city. The city has a separation of powers similar to the legislature, where the mayor is the head of the executive branch. Leatta Dahloff and Lance Brender are the two candidates participating in today's forum. We stress the importance of civility in our forums. Candidates have received the ground rules for the forum and have agreed to abide by them. Lance and Leatta, do you understand and agree to abide by them? Absolutely. Beginning with Lance, the first question is, why are you running for Tumwater Mayor, and what skills and experience do you have to offer?
So the answer to why I am running has a lot to do with how I got here. So I'm a recently retired U.S. Army officer, spent 20 years as a tank officer, retired out of JBLM. I'm also a small business owner and a farmer. And those experiences have given me a wide range of executive experience that now that I am out of uniform, I want to transition what I've done, which is public service and servant leadership, from the military and into the civil world. And that specifically takes the form of being mayor of Tumwater. So the experiences that I bring that are relevant to leadership here is the ability to bring together a diverse group of people who don't have the same goals and don't want the same things, to bring them all together and to get things done, and doing that in an equitable and fair way.
Appreciate the time to be here today, and I've been a proud League of Women Voters member for over a decade. My name is Leatta Dahloff. I currently serve as Mayor Pro Tem on Tumwater City Council, and I'm running to turn up and turn on everyone's love of Tumwater. And I'm looking at the cameras and I'm looking at the audience, and for me it's about how we connect and contribute and collaborate in our community. And I'm looking at representatives from Lacey City Council, someone running for Lacey City Council, the League members, a Thurston County Commissioner, a former Tumwater City Council member who happens to be my neighbor, a police ski representative, and most importantly, my mother, who a lot of you know as Madre. Because I love Tumwater. My parents chose Tumwater almost 50 years ago, and I choose Tumwater today. And everything I do is about how I expand opportunities and improve people's life. And it goes back to whatever phase and stage of your life, whatever you need, whatever you don't need, but you might need, our job is to make sure you don't think of us and that you have the options for what you need. And I want you to thrive in Tumwater because I love Tumwater.
Thank you. The next question is for you also, Leatta. What is the top priority for the city of Tumwater, and what would you like to address during your term?
Great question, Tawny, thank you. Knocking on doors and connecting with other colleagues and constituents and residents and nonprofits and private businesses, you'll get a different answer every time, right? So for us as an elected, it's juggling all of that, right? If everything's a priority, then nothing's a priority. So how do I meet your needs? How do I listen and learn and lead better? How do I make your priorities into our budget, right? So my job as mayor is gonna be taking what council approves and develops, working with boards and commissions, working with our county commissioners, working with our neighboring jurisdictions, taking all of that and showing that priority in our budget, right? Because your budget reflects your values. So it is making space for different types of housing, making sure our seniors, access to healthy foods, our youth, building bridges and connecting and contributing in a way that we maintain our neighborliness and we maintain our love of Tumwater.
Thanks. Lance?
I have 5 key administration goals. The first is affordable housing and getting the cost of the rise of housing down as close as possible to the inflationary rate at the national level as possible. 2 is the Olympia Brewery,
and leading the discussion that leads to the rehabilitation of that property into a productive member of society. Third is the modernization of emergency services, including body cams for police and laying the groundwork for a third fire station in the southern third of Tumwater. Conservationism is number 4, particularly enshrining our old growth forests and protecting them as we go through necessary growth to meet our population growth. And 5, and the final one, is tone, breaking down barriers between groups that typically don't talk to each other and have divergent goals and getting them all to the same table to come to a common conclusion.
Okay, Lance, you get to answer this question first. The public and private sectors are experiencing pressure from the federal government to eliminate commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and commonly known as DEI. In light of this, do you think any changes are needed to how Tumwater is implementing DEI efforts?
Well, some changes are coming, and credit where's credit due to the current administration and to the council. So coming online this year is an Equity Citizens Advisory Council, which is going to do 2 key things. That's going to produce a valve for output should something go wrong in the community, and there are issues that we need to address. This allows us to publicly put it out there and talk about it. It's also an input mechanism to get advice from the citizen body into the council's policy making on how we address with this issue. And just going about my personal beliefs for this is I believe in the high ideals that this country is founded on. I believe in equality. I believe in everyone having an equal shot. And I believe in everyone, if anybody has any barriers to that, that is where the government steps in and makes sure that the playing field is fair. And should I be elected, my goal is that there will be an open door to me and everyone in my administration to solve problems as they come up.
Thank you. Leatta?
Thank you, Tani. It's a relevant question. And when I talk about this to my colleagues and constituents and my neighbors in the police and fire and former electeds, we talk about Tumwater the Tumwater way, right? So we define what family looks like. Ed Hildreth is my family now. He's stuck with me whether he likes it or not. Commissioner Carolyn Mejia is my family. Jacob Rodriguez, Police Guild, is my family. In Tumwater, we're not othering. I'm not siloing and talking about diversity, equity, inclusion. It is embedded in everything we do, just like sustainability. It is the core of who we are, what we do in Tumwater. So to have someone, anyone, tell us to take something out, sure, I can do that, but I'm not gonna change my morals and my values, and I'm not expecting anyone else to do that in this room. So you can get distracted by that, but Tumwater's gonna keep doing what we're doing. Right? Inclusion and belonging, you define that, and my job is to make sure you have the services to do that. My job is to connect those sidewalks. My job is to make sure you have access to inner city transit. And I ran out of time, but I have more.
Back to you. As local governments are facing significant financial challenges, what do you see as Tumwater's toughest financial issue?
You know, in our general fund, the city of Tumwater, there's over 30 line items. That represents 30 different departments. So really you're creating competition, right? The most notable is fire and police. They both need what they need to do to serve you and meet you probably on your worst day possible, but they're competing. So one was that we tried to do the regional fire authority. That failed horribly, and I'm still upset about that, but I'm moving on, right? So you tell me no, you don't like this, that's intel for me, I'm moving on to the next. So maybe we're looking at a fire district, right, to meet those needs. So how do I juggle all the needs? One thing is that we like to do moving forward when I become mayor is working with the unions, working with the non-represented. Let's not be competitive with each other. What do you need? What do you need? How do we get to yes? So that is my goal. How do we get to yes? Meeting everyone's needs, knowing that people have different priorities, different goals, different passions, and I'm not going to shame or judge any of you. I'm going to work with you to get to yes.
Thank you. Lance?
I think one of the hardest things that we're going to have to balance, and we have had to balance this, and we will continue to over the next 4 years, is how do we incentivize a smart and appropriate growth in housing relative to an already high and in many cases unaffordable cost of living for Tumwater residents. So I was looking at the city's website earlier today. Median income's $84,000. Average cost of living here is about $100,000. So not really any surprise that we have 40% of our kids on free or reduced lunch programs across the school district. And so how are we going to balance? We need more housing to help drive down that price to allow people to have affordable housing options, while still balancing that with, hey, we have commitments to meet with our transportation, with our quality of life, and the other things that keep Tumwater a small town. And so that'll be a difficult juggling act, but I think the council and the administration is up to it.
Okay, Lance, how can the city of Tumwater collaborate with other jurisdictions to end homelessness in Thurston County?
Three-pronged approach, and I'll try to be quick. So the number one way to keep the majority of people out of homeless status or any form of poverty is good jobs. Attracting as many locally owned, locally ran good jobs as possible to keep people in their own homes. Number two, incentivization for those who are on the margins. So I'm a small town landlord here in town, and I think there's more that the city can do. Could we offer a monetary or even a non-monetary benefit to anybody who comes and attracts a Section 8 housing tenant and keeps them on a lease for a year or better? What could we throw their way to incentivize that from the private sector? And three, there are some great nonprofits. I was with United Way yesterday at Catholic Community Outreach. I've been with the Union Gospel Mission for years. And those faith-based and nonprofits are doing the hard work that we in government are not set up to do. We need to support them with a portion of what we already give to fight poverty.
Leatta?
Thank you, Tani. There's a lot that we're doing and we will continue to do, right? So the issue is complex, but we don't have to make it complicated. And a lot of times we make things complicated. One is Regional Housing Council, right? The jurisdictions in the county. I'm looking at Carolyn Mejia in the room. Thank you for being here today. What does that look like, right? What are those resources? The challenge that we're experiencing in Tumwater is we all agree, my seatmates, that not having shelter or a safe or healthy place to live is unacceptable. It is unacceptable for you to be homeless in Tumwater because that is not the Tumwater way, right? So we have to meet these acute needs, right? But then we have these chronic needs of seniors and manufactured home parks, of rents going up. We are creating a pipeline of those who are gonna lose their homes. And I have seniors telling me they would rather commit suicide than be on the streets. So in Tumwater, we have to do both. We have to be reactive and proactive. And what does that look like? That comes down to your budget and the partnerships and looking for other ways. So it's how we treat ourselves, and I want everyone to remember that we're all neighbors, and how do we treat our neighbors?
Do you have any concerns about the condition of city infrastructure, such as roads and sidewalks? And if so, what suggestions do you have to address those concerns? That's for you,
Thank you,
Leatta.
Tony. Great question. The three areas that I work on is connection, community health, and the rural-urban lifestyle. For connection, that means connecting our sidewalks. The improvement that we're making is in April, we had a special election for the Transportation Benefit District Board, and we added sidewalks to that, right, to connect sidewalks. Also is access to intercity transit. There's some proposed development down on Highway 99. That developer is open to having intercity transit go down. That's $1 million line that we can have someone else partner with us. Community health, the body-worn cameras. Rural-urban lifestyle, all those things that I'm working on, right? I currently live in an area in southwest Tumwater that is on well and septic, and I do not have a sidewalk. So having the ability to have things accessible and balancing rural needs and urban development is an ongoing thing, because that's what makes Tumwater special, is that urban-rural lifestyle of keeping our green spaces, keeping our family, and keeping the horse farm that's around the corner for me. So yeah, but that comes into our priorities and our capital facilities plan.
Lance?
First, we'll continue the previous administration's sidewalk plan and continue that out at least through the end of my administration. We'll continue with the roundabouts to increase fuel efficiency. Every time you have to yield instead of stop increases fuel efficiency and reduces pollutants into the environment. And fully found and expunged bus is one particular area that I plan to address with the other municipalities is access from Black Lakes. Right now, no bus system that goes from there to SPSCC, so THS students have a much better chance of going to Running Start without needing to drive themselves or needing a parent than someone from Black Hills. We can address that and address busing on the newly annexed land in the bottom of southern end of Tumwater. and allowing those people to have equal access to buses so they can get back to the rest of the town.
Well, you now have 1 minute for a closing statement, and we will start with Lance.
Hi. So, got two great choices going into this election. Here's what I bring to the table. 20 years of executive experience in the Army, 8 years of owning private business, 8 years of being a farmer. I care about this town and everything that it stands for, and I want it to remain a small town, a place where you can own your own home, where businesses are owned locally, where we have a unique identity of our own and we have a connection to the land. And I can't wait to see you all in November, and let's go win.
Leatta?
Thank you, Tani. My parents chose Tumwater almost 50 years ago. I love Tumwater, and when you love something, you go above and beyond for what you love. We are not a small town. We used to be a small town. Those who live in Tumwater and know Tumwater know that we are a medium-sized city, almost 250 full-time staff, $250 million biennium budget. We know where we want to go. Now is the time, the tipping point, to shape that, to maintain our rural-urban lifestyle, our community health, and our connection. For me, that means that everything we look at has to fit two questions for me. Does it improve your life? Does it expand opportunities? Not at the expense of anyone else. I love Tumwater. I connect, I contribute, and I collaborate in this city. I've served on Planning Commission. I've served on council for 8 years now. I'm your mayor pro tem. I give everything to this city because I want you to choose Tumwater and not be priced out of another jurisdiction and Tumwater is your second choice. I want Tumwater to be your first choice, and I'm going to do that with you.
Thank you both for participating in this candidate forum. We thank our partner TCMedia for producing and airing it. We are indebted to TCMedia for years of making these forums happen and educating the voters. TCMedia is a nonprofit organization dedicated to making media production accessible to all. They are committed to providing our community with access to professional media production, education, and content creation resources. Your support helps provide studio space, equipment, and education for creators in our community. To donate to TCMedia's work or to become a member, visit www.tcmedia.org. We are also incredibly thankful to the NAACP of Thurston County for sponsoring this forum. We encourage our viewers to be a voter in the upcoming election on November 4th, 2025. Every vote counts. Ballots for military personnel were mailed on September 21st, and all other ballots will be available on October 15th. You may register to vote up to and including Election Day. Thank you for watching this 2025 Candidate Forum.